Week 1 of the NHL regular season is in the books, which means only one thing. It's time for some irresponsible and wildly hyperbolic overreactions to the start of the season. That's right, we are back with the Week 2 power rankings for the NHL regular season to judge all 32 teams, some of whom have only played a single game, stack up compared to the rest of the league. And as will be the case every single week, we will be adding, subtracting, and changing up the tiers in our tier list to best accurately reflect the state of the NHL. As a reminder, the tiers are ordered from left to right, meaning the best teams in each tier are on the left, the worst on the right, and I'm going to be sure to shout out the 3 teams who were the most impressive on the week and the 3 who were the most disappointing. So let's get started with the bottom tier, not the ass tier, the giga ass tier. And there's only one team that can really fit in here, and that is the San Jose Sharks. And I know, they're not technically at the bottom of the division. They have 1 point. They managed to take the St. Louis Blues to overtime. Celebrating looks really good. They're an interesting team to watch, but let's be honest here. Do we think this team's actually going to end the season ahead of the Edmonton Oilers in the division? Yeah, I've seen nothing to indicate that this team is not going to finish bottom 3 in the NHL. But just above them in the ass tier, we got the Flyers, the Ducks, the Blue Jackets, and the Blackhawks. Like I said at the beginning of the season, these are all teams that just do not have the firepower to make a legitimate impact this season. None of them have been particularly impressive in their first foray into the season. Although the Flyers did manage to take a win over the Vancouver Canucks, it was a shootout win. Small sample size, they gotta show me a little bit more. And then the next tier, the hold on, are they good tier? We have the biggest riser of the entire league thus far, in my opinion, the Calgary Flames, managing to take down both the Oilers and the Canucks. Pretty impressive. And also the Montreal Canadiens, 2-2 in their first 4 games, and Sam Montembeault looking really sharp. The underlying analytics not great, but can't deny they've been a pleasant surprise through the first week of the season. Next up in the meh tier, we got the Kings, the Sabres, Caps, and Red Wings. All these teams basically unmoved from the preseason. None of them have really shown much. Kings did manage to pick up points in all 3 games, but their only win was over Buffalo, who actually seems to be a strong team based on the underlying analytics, but they just cannot score for the life of them. Moving up to the in the hunt tier, we got the Islanders, Kraken, Blues, Wild, and Penguins. Not expecting much out of these teams this season. Some of them are doing decently, like the Penguins and Islanders are 500, but none of them are particularly impressive. Next we have the what the fuck tier, with 3 teams who are here for very different reasons. Starting with the Avalanche, the second biggest dropper in my power ranking / tier list. I thought the Avalanche were a top 10 team easily. They've allowed 20 goals in their first 3 games of the regular season. That is the most in the NHL, and keep in mind that some teams have played up to 5 games, and as a result they are 0-3. They need desperately to get some better goaltending out of either Georgiev or Annunen. The defending Stanley Cup champions also in this tier. I was not as high on them before the year, but 2-2 including losses to Ottawa and the Buffalo Sabres. Not the strongest of starts for the Panthers. And then finally, everybody's darling, the Utah Hockey Club. The stink of Arizona is off of them, and they are jiving. I'm not sure how sustainable it is. The underlying analytics are not great for them, but goddamn, it is a fun ride so far. Just above them, the good, not great tier, we have Ottawa, Boston, and Carolina. Carolina's obviously only played 1 game. Both Boston and Ottawa, decent starts to the season, teams that I think are going to be pretty good later in the year. And then the contenders tier, which is getting a bit crowded with 2 of the big risers of the week. Winnipeg Jets, a team that's looking pretty spooky considering the fact that they smacked the Oilers 6-0. The Devils, the Lightning, the Vegas Golden Knights, another team that's looking a little bit better than I anticipated. One of the best goal differentials in the NHL, and they also dropped an 8-bomb on the Avalanche, although that's looking like it's not that big of an accomplishment. And the Leafs and the Canucks, a bunch of really good teams in here. Next tier at the top, another new one. It's the elite but sleepwalking tier. The Oilers, the biggest droppers of the tier list for me, and the Nashville Predators. Both these teams I thought were going to be elite coming into the season. Both are 0-3. The Oilers look like an absolute travesty, but we have also seen this story before last season. They started off awful, fired their coach, and made it to the Stanley Cup. So I'm going to guess that they're going to get this all cleaned up and not finish at the bottom of the league by the time the season ends. Did over the Nashville Predators, a team with just too much talent to finish at the bottom of the barrel. Bad start, 0-3, and the fact that they have not been able to score despite all of their offensive additions like Stamkos, Shea, Marchessault, they only have 3 goals in 2 games, is a bit concerning, but I think that they'll turn it around as well. And then at the very top, the 2 elite teams, we got the New York Rangers and the Dallas Stars. No surprise, the best teams in the NHL, and they have both looked at to start the year. The Stars 3-0, the Rangers 2-0-1 on the season.